Jessica, how's it going?
Yeah.
You look very tan. Where were you?
I need to wash my hair too. I was in Mexico. I'm still recovering. I'm overstimulated. I'm just kind of like, don't talk to me. Don't look me in the eye.
I don't want to make another conversation about
About the
stuff.
weather.
Don't.
Yeah, but it was great. I got married in Mexico. That's
Woo!
Congratulations.
An honest woman at last.
How'd everything go? Were there any big surprises or any gotchas or anything, or went flawless?
It went flawless. I mean, it was calling for thunderstorms and rain all 4 days, which would be terrible because the wedding was outside. But it didn't rain once. It was super sunny. Everyone was red. I mean, Andrew was bright red because it was nothing but sun. The excursions went well. We went to Tulum for the Mayan ruins. We went diving.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I brushed my whole side against like some coral while I was diving. It kind of sucked. I have like this big red scar on the side of myself. I haven't been diving.
Infected?
Yeah, no, it didn't get affected, but they were saying that coral is a living, breathing animal.
Yeah,
and
it's gross.
if it's cut by coral, you have to squeeze lemon in it.
Yeah.
So this was like the day of my wedding too. I decided to go diving right before that. The wedding. Why are you going diving? Are you crazy? I'm like, I like to dive. And so I got back and had to lay on a table, and they just squirted a bunch of lemon on my side.
Was this in the middle of the restaurant, or was this? Can I get a big thing of lemonade and just, drink all the lemons?
Worst body shots ever.
Yeah. That was the worst thing that happened, but it happened to me, so it's fine.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not our guess. We had 92 people. Mom and Dad behaved. Andrew's mom and dad behaved, so that was good.
Not like us the last time we were down there.
I wasn't there. I didn't go to that one.
Yeah.
Oh, us. We went to Tulum. We were in Tulum last
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was, yeah.
I love Tulum. We went to this place called Gitano for our rehearsal dinner. We didn't really have a wedding party, but we took everybody down to Tulum for that, and it was great. I love that place.
It's really peaceful. It has a nice, fun yoga vibe to it.
Oh, it's like every other. It's like restaurant bar yoga. Restaurant bar yoga.
It's like Austin.
Gun shop yoga, liquor store. Gun shop yoga. Used car dealership. Yes. Sad.
What is that, like New Orleans? Bar, strip club? Bar, strip club?
Yeah. Houston and Austin have near no zoning, so you can put things wherever you want, any place you want. Huge signage, huge ugly signage, and barbecue. That's the other thing that should be in there. Yeah, liquor shop, barbecue.
I saw on your Instagram, Brent, the on-site training you did last week.
Wow!
It was so awesome. I was like, holy smokes.
It was like the United Nations. It was really cool, this big auditorium, and everybody had microphones. You could push a button. If you were an attendee, you could push a button and start talking, to ask your question, and it was broadcast over the audio everywhere. They had an interpreter booth, so they had a separate little booth with 4 computers of their own video display so that people could be in there typing and transcribing or sending things out to the internet. They weren't doing that for this session, but they do it for their other things. They had microphones up so they could record everything that was happening in the room. It was truly spectacular. It was really swanky.
Bananas.
Yeah, it was nice. Even the employees were like, we would get done at the end of the day, and I'm like, okay, so we're all done. And they just keep sitting there, and I'm like, well, we're done. And they're like, no, this is nicer than our offices, so we're going to hang out here.
Did you get charged with any human rights violations?
Yeah, I tried to get a selfie with Kim Jong-il, but yeah, it didn't work out.
It's just you and the haircut.
Should have talked to Rodman, I told you.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, that was incredible. Oh my gosh, we have almost a whole team. Angie's here as well.
Look at all these boring married people.
Technically, I'm not married still. I just was going through my deck, and I haven't updated the template, so I'm still Walker everywhere but my license now. So
Getting close.
Well, this Webex is still Walker, so technically you're not married.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's your new last
Jessica,
name again?
Last name Ruddock.
Ah, gotcha.
like a duck. D-U-C-K.
Yeah, like a duck, Brent.
Like the Chronicles.
Exactly. No, that's
yeah,
Riddick.
with you.
Yes.
I
Now-
told Leaf that maybe I'll keep my old name because I'm in for a lifetime of misspellings now. And I know, Jessica, we were talking about that being the struggle with having nice, easy, pronounceable names prior to.
The struggle is real.
It's like rude duck with 2 D's. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erica never did take my last name either. She's like,
That's
no,
a
I
thing
don't
now.
want your last
I got a lot of my girlfriends just keep their last name. I'm like, that's an option too.
name. Your face.
I might just, the process is too complicated and I might as well just keep what I got.
It's true. It's true.
All right, I guess we should be talking about SQL Server.
Eh.
Oh, no.
Boring.
That one product.
Meh.
Snooze fest.
Which is out new today. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, SQL Server 2016 is out right now. You can go download it on MSDN or the partner site. There's places where you can go get it. Developer Edition is free, so you can go download the latest version right now. As we speak, Management Studio is not out yet, but will be coming any moment.
Ah, that was our first question too. Is 2016 out yet?
Dun, dun, dun.
Are you hear any rumblings on problems with it?
Oh, let's see, we all start laughing. Oh, yeah. There were a lot of problems with the community previews. For example, SQL Server Management Studio would crash every time I would close it. So I'm really curious. Usually you don't see stuff quite this buggy as you get close to release. But at the same time, I'm like, well, no one ever goes live with it in production the day it comes out anyway. People are just going to get widespread experience in development in dev environments in QA. Then they'll go find bugs, hopefully, and fix them, hopefully.
Wait, so I shouldn't install that in our production servers running everything?
Yeah, no, I would take a pass for a week or two. Just let things bake out just a little bit.
Out, but let it just wait.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a question from Dennis. SSMS question. Is there a way to have SSMS format the numbers in the output messages, not data in the query, like the row count at the bottom?
What are you trying to solve here? Because this is a presentation layer issue. Management Studio is just a tool for us to query data. Why does the formatting of the output matter? If you need it, if you have an application you're developing, in .NET, format your data there. The row count at the bottom. No, Management Studio, there isn't a way to format it. You can change the font and things like that in the tools options, but I'm not sure that that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
Is there a way, Brent? Could we format that?
One thing you can do is, if you're interested in like just having commas in, is you can cast it as money or convert it to money with a different culture, and you can get commas put in. But other than that, I'm not really sure what you're after. So if you're a little more specific, then.
Well, and return it as results. Whatever you're looking for, return it as results instead of looking at what comes out of SSMS, and then you can format it there as well.
Mm.
Ben. Dennis hasn't replied to us. Let's go to Ben. He says, old to SQL, hearing rumors about going to the cloud, MS, or Amazon, specifically in terms of security. What are the gotchas and pain points? Security is not our forte.
This is so totally different from on-premises, because on-premises you don't have any security risks at all. No one could possibly access your data. I'm sure it's locked down tighter than the Pope's poop chute. I mean, it is completely secure as all get out. I would, just me, I'm usually like Erik says, pull my finger. I would say usually it's more secure because you don't go wild and crazy with giving everybody sysadmin. But so I just turn it back to people on premises and go, so let's talk about your security. Let's go take a look at what you got. Everybody's SA, you haven't changed your password in 3 years? Yeah. I think you should get out of on premises. On premises is probably the worst thing for you. That's my. Nate says, the Pope's poop chute, really? Yes. This is what happens when you work for a small independent company. You can say things like, tighter than the Pope's poop chute. Probably can't say that, but we'll find out later.
I've already said it at least 3 times. We're going to find out. We're going to get an official letter from the Pope.
The Vatican. Yep.
Yeah.
The Pope does not have a poop chute.
Going for a world record. Most records of the Pope's got one webcast.
Dad always said that to me, so yeah, there we go. Someone else should probably tackle the next question.
Yes, somebody else talk now, please.
Brent, maybe just put him on mute.
Mm-hmm.
Looser than Brent's. Wallet. Wallet
on the company retreat.
There we go. There we go.
That is a short week. All right. Question from JH. Would creating a server trigger in emailing our DBA team if someone makes changes to the server role safe? Heard triggers affect performance, but it's rare in our case that we have server role changes but want to catch it if a network admin puts himself in the sysadmin role without letting us know.
We had security auditing at my last job. I'm not too sure what was used, but I think that the other DBA who set this all up, he just set up a job and queried for the information, and then the job would run every few minutes, I believe, and would send the DBA team an alert if anything changed.
Yeah, I like that. My first reaction was extended events.
We had really strict auditing that we had to put in place due to the credit card information that we were. It was encrypted, but we had to be very careful with everything.
Would you say that you had tight security? How tight security? Go ahead, Erik. I dare you.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say that you can set up the event data. You got me all flustered now. You can set up the event data XML. It's pretty good for modification triggers like that. It's not like, if you put triggers on tables and you're doing massive shifts of data or, before and after stuff. It's a pretty lightweight way to just, log changes as they happen.
Brent's telling somebody to F off.
Yeah.
What? No! No! I'm not. My hands are up here.
The typing is really loud. Let's see here. Question from Terry. Is there a way to set up databases in an AG without doing a backup and restore?
Not a good one.
No.
Copy files.
2016 there is. 2016 we get direct seeding where we can seed directly from the primary to the. So starting today you can, but unfortunately not before today.
All right. Tara, follow up on the security question. This is from Nate regarding security auditing. Any suggestions on getting some basic setup that tracks and alerts for security changes and schema changes?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I guess, is there like an extended event or something you could hook into, or?
Probably. I just, what we had set up for security would have just been queries, just to, to query for the information, look at the system tables and views. For schema changes, I don't know.
I think somebody set up a simple, hey, there's somebody new in this group for a security group. I think it was PowerShell at my last place, just so all of a sudden somebody's in the DBA sysadmin group. How did you get there? And it would fire off of off of one server in the domain. But I don't know anything about schemas.
Yeah, schemas are tricky because if you can log DDL changes, but the problem is if your trigger fails, then the change to the table can fail, and that can be kind of ugly. So you can also set up event notifications and dump stuff into a queue with Service Broker. But it is kind of challenging and kind of risky. If you want to learn more about it, search. God, I got to type this woman's name out. Maria Zakordiev. So if you search for event notifications and SQL blog, that's what you do. SQL blog Maria. SQL blog is all one word. Maria Zakordiev, and I'm sure I'm butchering her name, from Israel, has a post on how you go about setting up event notifications and how they break, because they do break under some circumstances.
Everyone mark it. Not only was SQL Server 2016 released today, but Brent recommended Service Broker.
It's a great solution. Wait a minute.
You didn't see the disdain on my face when he said that? You didn't see that at all?
All right.
Someone flung poo.
Talk about snapshot replication from Trishelle. I have
I gotta go
snapshot.
get my coffee.
Yeah, we're all like, I'm out of here.
Where's Tara?
Maybe we could tackle this. I have snapshot replication, which is scheduled to run 1 time per day, but recently I'm starting to see blocking done by this snapshot replication. Do I need to set the distribution agent as well because it is running automatically now?
I'm not sure about that, but the blocking, you're going to encounter that because it has to lock the schema. That's one of the last steps it does. So anytime you have to do a snapshot, whether it be snapshot replication or transactional replication, I assume with merge replication too, anytime you have to do that initial snapshot or reinitialize the snapshot, it does block changes. Data changes, schema changes, you'll see a lot of blocking as it's going through the last bits of the snapshot creation.
What would make you choose snapshot replication? Like, what would be a scenario where you, or have there been any scenarios where you go, hey, snapshot replication was the right thing for something I encountered?
I've never used it, but I mean, if users are willing to accept that their data is, a day old, let's say, anytime that I've used transactional replication, they've wanted near real-time, near real-time data with, they wanted 0 latency. We couldn't deliver that in replication, but yeah. Snapshot replication just depends on what your user wants as far as the data goes.
Yeah, I use it for reporting solutions.
What?
Oh no, I was asking Tara if a different isolation level would help with that blocking.
We were actually using RCSI, so yeah.
Probably
we definitely still had it was definitely schema lock. We definitely still had blocking.
Makes sense. It was probably worse without the schema or without the snapshot or RCSI. Probably horrible.
Yeah, it was very rare we had to do the snapshot, but sometimes replication would be broken for whatever reason. We couldn't figure it out, and we'd just have to restart replication. And our database was large, and it took like 5 to 8 hours to do. Not the snapshot portion. The snapshot took like about 45 minutes, I believe, but there was a lot of blocking during that time.
All right. Well, while we're on.
Snapshot replication for reporting purposes, right? So again, you just dump the data over there, and it's okay that there's a time delay for the reporting aspect, and there's your data.
I just wonder, instead of snapshot replication, that people should be, not backup and restore, because that might take too long on larger databases, but a SAN snapshot, a daily SAN snapshot, because it's just available, right away, and you don't have to wait for anything.
No schema locks. And it doesn't matter what the volume of change data is. Yeah.
We're on the hot topic of replication. Another one from Paul. I am replicating a database using merge and had an issue where if the developers changed a procedure on the original database, the change would not be pushed to the replicated database. Replicate schema changes is set to true. Any guidance on the reason why the changes won't replicate? I did a snapshot before initiating replication.
So replicate schema changes has to do with the table changes. It does not have to do with store procedure views, functions, or anything like that. So if you do an alter table, add a column, that will get replicated if you have the replicate schema changes set to true. But you would have to also have in a publication either your current publication or a different one to also replicate the store procedures.
And I wouldn't do that in merge either. Like I wouldn't, if you're going to change store procedures, just keep them in source control and apply them to both servers.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a question from Justin. SSIS Cache Connection Manager question. I want to load several objects into cache, about 1 to 5 million records, but can't figure out how to access that cache as a source of data. It's quite a bit faster for us to load to cache versus staging tables. Is this possible? If not, how would you store this?
Have any of us used the caching stuff in SSIS? No, everybody's getting to know.
No, I've used SSIS a lot and have not used that.
I know the one guy I know who does is Andy Leonard. If you search for Andy Leonard SSIS, he's written and talked about this. And I know because it was in his book. I didn't read the book. I just remember seeing the book. It was on my shelf at one time. It was a great paperweight. And smart guy, really friendly. Just go ask him the question. He'll be able to give you that right away. I wouldn't even, normally we're all about go put it on Stack Exchange. Just go ask Andy. Just go Andy Leonard SSIS, and he's super friendly. We'll give you that answer right away.
Tell him Brent sent you.
Tell him Brent sent you. Yes.
All right. Question from Tim L. He says, I've got agent access expert here at my company. I'm having SA access. He has a lot of ODBC from multiple access DBs into my 2008 R2 SQL Server. How do I find out what tables he updates? There's nothing in terms of jobs or stored procedures that references his data pull and updates.
I mean, you could do an extended event, run a trace, add a trigger.
2008 R2 though. I like the trigger.
Yeah, I mean,
access.
Trigger line.
I love that.
why does he need SA access?
You go ask him. He's ancient. He'll be a nice guy. He's mellow by now. You could run a trace. That's going to be ugly, performance intensive. The trigger will be intensive.
Well, you can at least filter the trace down to table name.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
but if he wants to know what tables he's doing, it's going to be every table.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you could filter by his login at least. If that's what it's going through at least, to connect to SQL Server.
And don't try to log his select state or his insert statements or updates, deletes. Just put a record in a table the first time he does an update, delete, and then immediately turn off the trigger on that table, or the trace on that. But yeah, that's tough. Just go ask the guy. Go talk to the guy. It's be nice. Yeah, shoot him an email. Buy him a bottle of bourbon, and
Black.
it's a human being.
Yeah, just don't give away the wine. Right, Brent?
If you were going to give somebody wine, you should give him like Robert Mondavi. Just give him his access. He's not, Oh, that's not true. Cliff Lady, ladies and gentlemen, this webcast is brought to you by Cliff Lady Wines.
Do any of us participate in SQL Cruise?
I co-founded that with Tim Ford. Tim and I co-founded it, and when we split up like the consulting company versus the training and cruise type business, I wanted to let him go do his own thing there and not be on it because I felt like I would kind of shadow in on it and make the thing murky. It is a wonderful experience. I strongly recommend it to anyone who thinks about going. It's fantastic for your professional development. It's limited to just say 20 attendees and like 5 to 10 presenters. So the ratio of presenters and attendees is fabulous. You get to hang out with them. You get to have dinners from and all this. You get to know them really well, so it can be a rocket ship for your career. And it helps you really build networking bonds with not just the presenters but the other attendees who are there. Now the downside is you get to hang out with the presenters in hot tubs. So that may be a pro or a con depending on what your idea of a good time is there. So it's not for everybody, but it is truly fantastic.
Is there a magic
Brent Richie in a Speedo, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Do you still go on the cruise then? Are you done?
I don't. I totally stopped doing that, and I go off and do my own cruises. My next one's in Alaska in August. I think we're on that one with my parents, but I haven't done a technical cruise since. Most of the time, what I like to do now is just go out on a cruise and not talk to anyone. I like to, go out and sit and read books.
He did Alaska before, right?
So my 5th time, I think. Yeah,
oh, wow.
Absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. I never was a snow kind of guy, but you get out there in the majestic snow and mountains and bears and all that. It's beautiful.
Nice.
Minus the jacket.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk to Graham Logan. He's got some problems. He says, SSMS crashes when expanding database objects in Objects Explorer. Database is about 1.2 terabytes and has about 2 million objects.
Oh, good lord.
This is the vendor's design. It's not mine. How to view all database objects without SSMS crashing.
You just cannot use Object Explorer. I mean, that's just, you're not going to be able to use Object Explorer. You can't use the left pane in Management Studio. You're going to have to write queries to see things. It's very unfortunate, but that's a heck of a lot of objects in the database.
Before you expand the list, you have to right-click on the tables thing and click filter. Then you can filter for specific strings, but without filtering, it's useless. Select star from sys. Well, so I go information schema tables, information schema, all columns, all kinds of stuff.
All right, more problems. Kyle Johnson has a new one. We have a 4.2 terabyte database with a single data file. I'm working on a plan to migrate to multiple ones. Shrinking the database to a level where the data between files isn't really practical with a 6-hour window of no users. Have any other suggestions? Reindexing tables and specifying the file groups to move the tables into? Question mark. From Kyle Johnson.
There's a bunch of good options here.
Brent's getting ready to tell you about Bob Pusateri.
I was, and you are psychic. You are phenomenally psychic. Tell us more. I would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
Bob Pusateri, which I feel like this webcast has been obscene enough without me saying that, has a blog post about moving new file groups, a lot of the gotchas and bad things that can happen to you. I will track down the link for it and send it to you, but I would not do it justice just explaining what goes on in it. So there's scripts and everything. So
Bob had a 25 terabyte data warehouse with thousands of files in it because the prior DBA thought it was a good idea to create a separate file group for every employee, and then later came to regret that decision. So he has a great set of scripts on how you go about moving stuff around and keeping them online wherever possible. So it's really slick. So then you do that prepping leading up to the 6-hour window so that your 6-hour window is only dealing with stuff that you can't do offline, like moving the lob data, if I remember right.
All right. Question from Claudio. I'm trying to understand the differences between the new always-on basic availability groups in the synchronous commit mode and the mirroring and high safety mode. But they look identical, except always-on seems more complicated to set up and manage. Are there any benefits to either solutions, features, performance, licensing, reliability? Which one would you recommend to adopt?
Yeah, I mean, database mirroring is being deprecated, so I mean, you're going to want to move over to the AG basic availability groups. Get on it now. It's the replacement for database mirroring.
It's in the drawbacks. So what you manage both too. So what would you say the strengths of always-on availability groups are over mirroring and vice versa? That's not a trick question, I promise.
Mirroring, you're not failing over groups at a time. You're failing over a database at a time. So availability groups let you fail over groups, which is good when you have an application with multiple databases that it needs.
And to be clear, so you're saying the guy's saying standard too, so you only do one database at a time, but you can script those too, just like you would with mirroring. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything that would be. Have to have a cluster, but you don't have to have a domain with mirroring, but you don't either with 2016 either. You can do it between standalone boxes.
With mirroring, if you want the automatic failovers, you need a witness. With AGs, you do need a quorum, but it could be a file share on another server, on a file server that you have, or a disk on a SAN could be a quorum. Yeah, so mirroring does require another box, a VM. It can be Express Edition.
Yeah, I used to be the biggest fan of mirroring. I'm having a tough time coming up with advantages as 2016 starting here.
I did a lot of failovers with mirroring, log shipping, and then later availability groups. And by far, I like availability groups best for DR failovers. It was just so much easier. You just run a failover command and you're done. With mirroring, you're doing it database by database. Log shipping's all sorts of restores going on. Mirroring is certainly easy. Definitely easy, but I like the slickness of availability groups and readable secondaries, and the choice of asynchronous and synchronous.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go too. Yeah, because even in standard, you get choice between sync and async now, and you can use one technology that works on your standard stuff and your enterprise stuff, so you only have to learn one feature instead of learning two. That's kind of slick too.
Yeah, when we use mirroring, we would use asynchronous mirroring to the DR site, and then for high availability solution at the primary site, we use failover clustering. So availability groups, just solves both solutions in one feature. Plus reporting, we got rid of replication.
All right, let's move on to a question from Chris Woods, a regular attendee. He says, migrating MDF with LOB data, LOB data, I don't know how you call that, from one drive to another with minimal/no downtime. Can you use log mirroring to mirror it to a new database on the same server that shut down the original during a quick downtime?
Oh, you can't do mirroring to a different database on the same server, can you? You can do log shipping. Can you do mirroring to the same instance?
No.
I think you can do
same
mirroring to the
instance,
same
no.
instance. Yeah. You can do log shipping to the same instance. That'll work, and your downtime will be super fast. Because what your failover process would look like is when it comes time for failover, you do a tail of the log backup on the main database, then restore that tail log on the other database, rename the old primary as like the old primary database is like database old, and then rename the new one as database old, new, and then whatever the new database name is, or the original database name is. So you could do that in like a 30-second outage. You don't have to change connection strings because it's all the same server still. So that's kind of slick.
If this were if this is a SAN drive, even moving from one SAN to the next, we did all this stuff live. I don't know what the technologies are called, but we would move arrays live. The SAN administrators did some magic, and it just copied over the data. And once the copy was complete, it did a switcheroo between the two pointers. Or I don't know what the technology was, but the SAN can handle this without any downtime.
Magic.
All right. Rob is adding a new instance to an existing active
cluster.
And I think he's telling me about his process so that we can say if it's yay or nay. He says, I would need to fail over the existing instances to one node, install the new instance on the node with no instances, servers pack it up, then fail over the instance to the node I was just on, then run the install on another node, apply SPS, then rebalance the instances. Does that sound about right?
What?
It does, but we don't recommend active clusters. What happens if you lose a node? I don't, at least. I've supported active. I've had 4-node clusters where all 4 nodes were active, and it's just a nightmare. If you lose a node, can your other nodes support all of the instances at the same time? Until you get that other node fixed.
Richie's showing something on his iPad. What I would say is we do recommend. I still can't see it. We do recommend active with a passive node. So
Right.
Multi-instance clusters. Just have a passive in there somewhere. And your scenario is exactly why you want a passive node laying around.
But at least what you wrote out here for the question, that is the process.
Also known as miserable.
Yeah. At least, since 2008, SQL Server 2008, we've been able to have, where it can install it just on one node. Prior to that, all nodes in the cluster had to be online and have the exact right status in order for the installation, because the installation occurred across all nodes at the same time. Service packs, the engine, everything, and on a 4-node cluster, there'd always be one node that that was misbehaving and just says, I need a reboot. And you'd reboot it 20 times and it would still say, I need a reboot. And then finally that one would be okay, and now another node would say, I need a reboot. And it was just ridiculous. So I'm glad that Microsoft added, changed the installation process starting with 2008.
It's like taking kids on a road trip. Everybody ready? No!
I have to pee.
I got excited. I thought we got a Node.js question, but I guess not.
Never have, never will.
All right.
Brent has.
Let that dream die, Richie.
Let's take one more. Let's take one more question. Let's see here. Good morning, Brent and Tara, Richie, and Angie. It says, yesterday we had a problem with a process that normally moves data from table queue and delete it after it's done. This is a standalone database. We stopped the inflow data, but it didn't help. We got thousands of deadlock alerts. I noticed that the disk queue length on the log drive is higher than usual. Here is a sample of the deadlock. He provides it. Is there anywhere I can look for this issue?
If you're getting deadlocks, you should turn on the deadlock trace flag, 1222. Maybe run an extended event to capture the deadlock graph. Having just the deadlock victim isn't enough to be able to resolve it.
It's a separate technique, I think, that not a lot of database administrators get good at, because it's one of those things where you're kind of like, hey, you should fix your indexes in your queries, and then people go off and do their own thing. It's one of those where when you do want to do it, it takes a day or two to read up and go, here's exactly how the technique. There's also not a lot of good resources on our site for it. We don't go into details on deadlocks either. Have any of you guys seen resources on deadlocks that you liked?
I mean, I like I like just hitting extended events for it. The system health session has quite a bevy of information on deadlocks, and you can view the graphs and everything, which is pretty swell.
If there's a query out there, go ahead.
I attended a session at PASS in 2014. Jonathan Cahias from SQL Skills. It was all about deadlocks, and it was invaluable information. He went over different scenarios and stuff, and he said that he loves deadlocks, and it's like, whoa, I don't know that anyone's ever said that before. But it was really great information. So I haven't looked at. I do read his blogs, but I suspect he's got a lot of deadlock information on the blog to help you out.
He also loves XML.
He also loves XML and extended events. If you have a Pluralsight subscription, so Pluralsight has online training. I want to say it's like $39 a month or something like that. I think Cahias has a course on deadlocks. I'm not 100% sure, but if you search for SQL Server deadlocks, if Cahias has a course on there, it would be wonderful.
Also, if you don't have Pluralsight but you want to try it, Microsoft has a Dev Essentials site, I believe, where if you sign up for that, you get a 30-day free trial of Pluralsight, and you also get Developer Edition and a copy of Visual Studio that's free, Visual Studio Community or something for free. So it's not just the Pluralsight subscription for 30 days, but you do get a couple other goodies in there that last a little bit longer.
The course is called SQL Server Deadlock Analysis and Prevention.
Dun, dun, dun.
Somebody
Like
still
a
has a
fire
Pluralsight
marshal.
account.
Yes.
All right, guys. That's all we got for today.
What?
Thanks for hanging out with us. And man, this time goes so fast now.
Yeah.
Gee, holy smokes! And
I was just sobering up.
Yeah. Well, back to work. With the Cliff Lady, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the high fidelity. See you guys next week.